Good evening. Welcome to the City of Opa-locka virtual regular commission meeting. We're here to handle the business of the people. But before we start, I want to take a moment. I know that 2020 has been a rough year for many of us in this community. There's been a lot of pain, anger, frustration, what's been going on due to COVID, how that affects our lives, challenges with the government, injustices. There's been a lot of things. And sometimes we need to take a moment to pause, breathe, pray, and do whatever we need to do to get our mind right so that we are focused and handling the business of the people. So let's take a moment of silence. All right, let's get down to the business of the people. Madam Attorney, could you read the protocols that govern this virtual meeting?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, pursuant to Executive Order 20-69 issued by the Office of the Governor, Ron DeSantis, on March the 20th, as amended, municipalities may conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum physically present or at any specific location, and utilizing communications media technologies such as telephonic or video conferencing as provided by Section 120.54 5B2 Florida statutes. The members of the City Commission appearing remotely for this meeting are Commissioner Bass, Commissioner Burt, Commissioner Kelly, Vice Mayor Davis, and Mayor Pygott. An opportunity was given to the public to address this City Commission through the clerk, and at the appropriate time, she will read any names that have been that have come in before the time expired. As of the time of this meeting, we would ask that the members please be reminded that this is a virtual meeting and we must rely upon an accurate record. So when you're not speaking, please mute your microphones. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The meeting is turned over to you.
Thank you very much, Madam Attorney. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass.
I'm here.
Commissioner Burke. Commissioner Burke. Okay, Vice Mayor Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Present.
Mayor Pygott.
I am here. All right, just for the record, I think Commissioner Burke just got logged off. He was on when we first started, so when he comes on, we'll acknowledge his presence. With that, Commissioner Bass, could you lead us in invocation?
Yes, sir. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you, Lord God, for our family. We thank you for our friends. We thank you, Lord God, for our community. We thank you, Lord God, for giving us the opportunity to be servants, Father God. We just bless you today. We give you honor and glory. May you continue to bless our city and our residents. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Right, Vice Mayor, pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements?
No, we don't have any, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moving on to the approval of the consent agenda. Are there any pulls, deletions, or deferrals?
Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly?
I'd like to pull 13.2 and 13.5.
The charge could face 15 years behind bars.
All right, anyone else? All right, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Davis. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Bass.
Yes.
Commissioner Burke. Mayor Pygott. Motion passes 4-0.
Do you have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Davis. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke, Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Yes,
Okay, so
I'm sorry,
Motion-
Joe.
Burke, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Burke. So motion passes 5-0 on the approval of the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion to approve the virtual special commission meeting minutes for May 21st, 2020?
Move
Move
it.
it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
second,
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual special commission meeting minutes for July 2nd, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
second,
second by Commissioner Bass. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual regular commission meeting minutes for July 8th, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
second,
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
A motion to approve the virtual special commission meeting minutes for August 20th, 2020.
Move it.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
Second.
second by Commissioner Kelly. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the virtual special commission meeting minutes for August 27th, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
second,
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
A motion to approve the virtual first budget hearing minutes, September 8th, 2020.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Bass,
move,
Second.
second,
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
A motion to approve the virtual regular commission meeting minutes for September 9th, 2020.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
second,
second by Commissioner Burke. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do we have reports from District 1 or District 2?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Do we have any public presentations?
No public presentations.
All right, moving on to citizens forum. Madam Clerk, could you read the protocol that governs citizens forum and let us know if we have any citizens that are speaking?
Yes. Good evening. The public had an opportunity to submit public comments for this meeting up until 5 p.m. today via email at publiccomments@opalockafl.gov or by requesting the virtual meeting link to join Zoom webinar for live public comments. At this time, Mr. Mayor, I have one public comment, and this is from Michelle Henney, 10640 Paris Street, Cooper City, Florida, 33026. The City Commission a few weeks ago expressed concern over a $24,000 recruitment fee for a police chief. I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, where is the concern that Jerry Lazar of Tri-Merge has been paid close to $1 million for accounting services, especially when most of that amount has not been vetted by a knowledgeable member of the city staff to ensure that the taxpayers' dollars are being responsibly and efficiently spent? In addition, what has the commission done to address the complete lack of initiative for the hiring of a finance director so that the city is not overspending by paying consultants to do work that can be handled by lower paid and equally knowledgeable staff? That concludes the public comment, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Is there any response to public comment? All right. I do want to acknowledge the fact that we are under a financial oversight, and we, as we recruited a new city manager, city attorney, and also we're under the state chief inspector generals. Many of our finances are reviewed multiple levels within the city and also by the state of Florida. Ms. Lazier is one of our consultants that we brought in to assist with our finance department and interim. The contract has been approved by this government and by the commission multiple times, and all concerns that are being brought up are investigated very thoroughly and investigated thoroughly. And in conjunction with the State Oversight Board, which basically approves all of our invoices in the city of Opa-locka. So those concerns I continue to bring up, but also make sure that we get responses from our city manager and also the state in regards to all inquiry in terms of our finance department as we manage ourselves out of this financial crisis. If there are no other comments, I would like us to move on to our action items. Madam Attorney.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to piggyback the Town of Miami Lakes contract number 2018-40 with Florida Sidewalk Solutions, LLC, for qualified professional services to perform sidewalk repairs to the area of Alibaba Avenue to Northwest 151st Street and Pervez Avenue to Northwest 27th Avenue, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Move for discussion.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Commissioner Burke. Mr. Manager, introduce this item.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I defer to our Public Works Director as this is his item that I'm sponsoring. Director, the floor is yours.
Ari Austin, Public Works Director. This item is to address our risk management concerns as it relates to trip hazards in the Town Center area bordered by Purvis Avenue, 27th Avenue, Scheherazade, and Alibaba. No, sorry, 151 to Alibaba. It's gonna remove any elevated sidewalks by grinding them and bringing them into conformance to prevent any future trip hazards around this area. We piggyback in the Town of Miami Lakes because that's the best contract available to us for this type of project. I'm open for any questions or concerns.
All right, does that conclude your introduction, Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Austin. Commissioner Kelly, since you pulled the item, I'll give you the floor first.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple of things. On the item for the locations, I heard it was mentioned that they were via the risk manager or risk management. What is the next group of, or is there a next group of sidewalks that you'll be doing? Because there are quite a few around the city that have these same challenges that you're repairing. That's number one. Number two, regarding the sidewalks 151st to Alibaba, one of the concerns I've heard, and I appreciate doing the sidewalks, but the businesses along the area are always parking on the sidewalks. or parking where you can't access the sidewalks, especially those in wheelchairs or handicap vehicles, et cetera, who we see quite a bit around South Florida as a whole. So I would hope that, I don't know if there's some signage going to be a part of that, but that be addressed as well, because it makes no sense to have good sidewalks and then the cars are driving up on them and people can't access them or damaging them to where they still wind up with those ridges and I want to say dents in them that still wind up with the same challenges. And that's for all areas. So I don't know how you plan to address that, but that's my concern going forward as we do not only those, but even more to come that I'm quite sure you'll identify through risk management. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right. You direct a question to the manager, Commissioner Kelly, or is it a statement?
I can hear you.
So are you directing the questions to the manager, or
Yes,
to
the manager, his designee, whichever.
All right, Mr. Manager, you have the floor.
Mr. Austin, if you can answer those questions.
Yes, first off, the sidewalk initiative is starting in Town Center since we are launching the installation of new sidewalk in the very same section. Over 5 years, we intend to address sidewalk throughout the city. This started here because this is where we're going to be installing the new sidewalks. As it relates to the abuse of sidewalks by parking and blocking, lack of maintenance, we have commenced an initiative with code compliance to address those concerns. Firstly, for the lack of maintenance, as you know, our code states that the adjacent property owner is responsible for the maintenance of the swale and the sidewalks. We want to first clean up the sidewalks to get them in a condition where the residents and businesses could manage to maintain and sustain these traffic areas, pedestrian traffic areas. Hope that addresses your question, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Floor is open for discussion.
Thank you.
All right. Commissioner Bass.
Yes, not a discussion, just a comment. I'm grateful to see that this project is being worked on, and I myself had a personal experience with a sidewalk that was not up to par a few years ago. And I think taking care of this will do a lot for the city in regards to mishaps. So thank you.
All right, anyone else?
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Thank you. Just want to say thank you to the administration for taking on this project. Of course, the first phase, I believe, is more focused towards our downtown area, so making downtown more walkable and also making access easier to public transportation, as the SMART plan, and we kind of as a county move forward and develop our mass transportation system. So I just want to say thank you to the administration for proffering that, and hopefully in future phases we can get closer into the neighborhoods and get to some of our residential spaces and include sidewalks in some of our communities and making them more walkable. So thanks again.
All right, anyone else? Okay. All right, I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues in terms of us moving this project forward. Sidewalks have been a sticking point for a lot of us throughout the city of Opa-locka. And it's good to see that not only are we going to be putting in place over 2 miles of sidewalks, but we're also taking care of the sidewalks we currently have. However, there was one concern brought up by Commissioner Kelly I don't believe was fully addressed in terms of the code enforcement violations of people parking, those businesses having their parking cars on top of our sidewalks. And if I'm not mistaken, that is a code enforcement duty, is to ensure that those businesses are respecting the property. Am I incorrect, Mr. Manager?
That is a code enforcement responsibility as well as the police department responsibility.
So what are we doing to address that? I know we've been conducting a code enforcement investigation throughout the city because of what we've been seeing in terms of lack of code enforcement in many of our businesses with the trash and that and just the upkeep of private property throughout the city of Opa-locka. That's creating an eyesore in too many places. And this is another one. And we were constantly bringing these things up. What are we doing in order to address this particular instance at the moment, or will be doing to address these issues?
As far as this particular issue, the police department code enforcement will be directed to fully enforce our ordinances in regards to individuals being parked illegally on sidewalks or on various rights of way. How we're going to address that, and how, as far as addressing systematic issues in regards to code enforcement, plan of action is forthcoming in the near future.
All right, I think that's one of the items we'll be discussing in later items. So we'll continue the conversation, but thank you very much. Are there any other comments on this item? All right, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
yes,
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott,
Yes.
Execute the fiscal year 2019 Community Development Block Grant Contract, or CDBG, between Miami-Dade County and the city of Opa-locka, providing for incorporation recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Move it.
All right, moved by Commissioner Kelly,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Davis. Mr. Manager, could you introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a CIP related project. So I'll allow Mr. Austin, our Public Works Director and CIP Director, to introduce the item to the Commission.
This item is to accept funding from CDBG that was previously awarded. Now that the project is about to start, the contract has been drawn up and we are accepting those funds previously awarded by CDBG to install new lighting systems at the Ingram Park facility. That concludes my introduction of this item.
And I have nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Kelly, you pulled the item. You have the floor first.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Manager, Mr. Austin. Of course, it's a long time coming to get this far. So I do appreciate it. My question is the timeline or time frame of how it's going to take place. And I only bring it up because I know there are other improvements that are taking place or will be taking place as well in conjunction. So is there a structure in place of how to make sure what one is not interfering with the other, or the time frame so they coincide, so that you have a seamless project in terms of the improvements that are going on in Ingram Park? Because I know there are several things planned. And of course, the lighting is a major part of that. So is there a not only timeline, but a structure of how it's going to lay out, lighting first, or this part first, or the bathroom first? How is it actually going to be laid out in a timeline? Or are you still working on that? That's the question, Mr. Mayor.
Pardon. Right now, the timeline is to install the lighting system first, and then the bathrooms will be done next. Then shortly thereafter, we are putting an RFP out in the meantime for the basketball courts and the tennis court. So we have a systematic process in place to ensure that we're not stepping over each other during this project.
Okay, just one follow-up, Mr. Mayor. So all of that is tied in after the lights. You have a process in which they'll fall in line.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. And anything that you're doing there really has no impact on the senior citizen building in terms of any improvements there?
No improvements there at this time. That's going to be part of our park improvement plan.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other discussion on this item? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Mayor Paget.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, Mr. Manager, your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My most favorite time of the commission meeting. We're going to do something a little bit different, as I promised the commission at the last commission meeting that I will have staff do a comprehensive update on the four major challenges. But before we get started on that, I thought it would be very noteworthy and significant to allow the police department to provide an update of their activities since change of leadership and some of the outstanding and positive work they've been doing on the streets of Opa-locka as far as serving our residents and people that could commute to and through the city of Opa-locka. At this time, I yield my time to Lieutenant Sergio Perez to provide his report in regards to the status of the police department. And then I will lead on to other departments to talk about the four major challenges and any other issues the commission may want to talk about afterwards. Lieutenant Perez.
Thank you, Mr. Manager, and good evening, Mr. Mayor, commission staff, and our viewers. So Lieutenant Jenkins and I were promoted August 14th of this year. So over the last 38 days, we have restored the faith in the police department, both from the community and the rank and file. We have reestablished fair and equitable practices for advancement and career progression. And I just want to speak about briefly a few things that really stand out. And I'll begin with, we restructured the police department in its entirety. In doing so, this allowed us to create our newly established street crimes unit that many of you have seen. This restructuring also added an additional 3 detectives to our criminal investigations division. Our criminal investigations division in the last 38 days has closed a total of 318 cases, recovering $10,000 worth of stolen property. Our street crimes unit officers have taken 10 firearms off of the streets of Opa-locka and made 27 arrests for serious felony crimes that have brought closure to an armed robbery that occurred in our city, as well as many other numerous felony crimes throughout Miami-Dade County. In 38 days, we have repaired 10 police vehicles that were crashed or sitting at the motor pool for over a year. We have issued hundreds of N95 masks to our officers that were previously reusing the same masks over and over. This is a highlight. We have launched the Rapid ID program. This allows our agency to immediately identify a person by scanning their fingerprint onto one of our 2 mobile devices. We are one of the very few agencies in the county that are equipped with this technology. We have established partnerships with other police agencies that have facilitated technology such as Faces. Faces is facial recognition, whereas we can enter a picture into the system and immediately it'll tell us who the person is. This is new technology that will enhance our ability to identify people and bring closure to many criminal cases. We have begun planning a construct of initiatives that will begin to build partnerships with the community that will consist of door-to-door visits by police officers surveying our citizens. As you know, we have purchased a new police motorcycle in our initiative to reestablish the department's motor unit that will address the many traffic concerns expressed by our citizens. We have gotten our entire police department to include code enforcement outfitted with new uniforms. We have ordered hurricane equipment and adequate rain gear for the members of the police department. We have begun ordering our officers ballistic helmets, ballistic shields, so that our officers are protected and our police department is prepared to respond to a critical incident in the event that one will occur. Prior to August 14th, we didn't have any of this equipment, nor were there any conversations about acquiring it. We have implemented a training program that is inclusive of all members of the police department, including civilian staff. For our records persons, our property and evidence unit, everybody's going to go to training here and have been sent to training and will continue to go to training. We are also working with the assistance of the Miami-Dade Police Department to correct the deficiencies that were outlined in the audit report, which myself and Lieutenant Jenkins have used as a blueprint to make our agency efficient and correct the problems that we've seen. We've also issued and began to issue field force equipment. And, in closing, everything that we've done to attain a level of preparedness for our agency. And one last thing that I want to say is that I'm very proud of the progress that we've made and the men and women of this police department. And it goes without saying that our recent successes are largely attributed to the support and expertise that Mr. Pate has provided us. And I'm open to any questions that anybody may have.
Mr. Manager, you still have the floor?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and I would like to add that our new police major, Major Daryl Stroud, starts on Monday, and he would be that third level of supervision that's coming into the police department as far as the reorganization of the police department and redevelopment of the police department's leadership, as well as our executive search that's underway currently for our new police chief. Public surveys were released this morning, both on social media, via email, online, as well as will also be released during public listening sessions that will be scheduled in the near future. The executive search firm will be working with my executive assistant, with Mr. Grice, to schedule a meeting with each commissioner, mayor and vice mayor, in regards to the attributes that they want to see in the next chief of police of the city of Opa-locka. So the police department is making a lot of effort and a lot of progress over this short period of time. As everybody knows, law enforcement holds near and dear to my heart because that is how I came up in municipal government prior to becoming a city manager. So I am very proud of the men and women of the Opa-locka Police Department. I've never seen a bunch of motivated self-starters in a very, very long time. It's very refreshing that change in leadership, a change of oversight, and just motivation being provided by their peers and by their leaders can provide such results that we've seen. One thing Lieutenant Perez did not note is majority of these gun possessions, gun arrests were made in the vicinity of 22nd Avenue apartments, which we had a bulk of our shootings. So the street crimes unit has saturated that area, as well as the Gloria Gardens apartments and other hotspots in the city, to move away those individuals that we do not desire to be in our community, to run our residents away and make them feel trapped hostage in their homes. So this is very significant and it is very noteworthy. I'm very, very, very proud of both Lieutenant Jenkins and Lieutenant Perez and the progress that they're made in such short period of time. And I'm looking forward to the police department moving forward in even more positive ways. That concludes my report as far as the police department is concerned. I'll take any questions from the commission, mayor and commission in regards to anything related to the police department.
All right, floor is open.
Your packet?
Commissioner Bass.
Yeah, just a couple comments. I'm sitting here and I almost had to pick my jaw off the floor when I heard the statistics of what has been accomplished in 38 days. That is just mind-boggling. I'm just grateful to hear the positivity that's coming out of our law enforcement department. I just can't wait to see or to hear, to read the statistics in the next year of what's going on in our city. I am just so happy right now. Let me just give you all a virtual hug. Thank you all so much. And if I may please have that's the statistics on paper that I can look at it again, because I heard it, but it went kind of fast. And again, thank you so much for the work that you all are doing in the police department. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Thank you. And just to echo Commissioner Bass' concerns and our, just applause to our police department. We all was kind of looking at our crime rates and, getting a lot of fire from our residents as far as, to improve and, do something for our community. So props to you, Mr. Manager, for, making these leadership decisions and ultimately making us more efficient and effective in our public services to our community. I just actually have a few questions about a couple of things, Mr. Manager. We talked about, training programs for civilian staff as well as our command officers. And we also talk about using the audit and the Auditor General's 99 findings ultimately as a blueprint. My hope as we go forward and we kind of use that as a guideline is that somewhere down the line that we see it reflected in policies, because, training is one thing, but ultimately, we hold our staff, ultimately accountable through policies. And I know that, right now the collective bargaining agreement is open as well with the PBA and, and there's a lot of opportunities for change within our department. So I will hope, that we give a serious amount of consideration, to those concerns. And that's pretty much it, Mr. Manager. Again, great work to our Lieutenant Perez and Sergeant Jenkins. Thank you guys. Continue the great work. I see the work that you guys are doing over at 22nd Avenue Apartments as well as Glorietta Gardens. I ride by there all the time and I see our cars patrolling, and I know we can't be everywhere at all times, but the community is very happy and excited to see and feel the police presence in our community. So thank you again.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burke.
Yes. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Pate for the time and the energy that he has put into the police department. The police, public safety is dear to my heart. And it's nice now to walk around the city and see the morale that has grown in the police department in the last month or so. And that street crime unit and the way that the trucks were outfitted, the vehicles were outfitted, it's great. I love it. I want you guys to keep doing the great job that you're doing. If we can see it, I know the citizens are seeing it. And once again, you guys keep up the great work. And Opa-locka won't be in the news every week for shootings or homicides. Once again, Mr. Pate, thank you for your insight. Lieutenant Perez, Lieutenant Hill, you guys keep the morale going and keep the training, policies and procedures. And you guys are doing a great job. Make Opa-locka look great. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Anyone else? All right. Again, I want to echo the sentiments of my colleagues. It is very impressive to hear the changes that have been made so swiftly. Much respect to Mr. Manager Pate, Lieutenant Jenkins, Lieutenant Perez for all the work that's been put in. I know myself as the elected official, as mayor, the level and quality of reports and understanding that we've been receiving has dramatically increased. And I appreciate all those things, including and on top of the significant accomplishments that's been made so far. Let's continue to move in this direction. I see it as this report as a positive step in the direction, but I look forward to seeing many more steps up this staircase to ensure that this crime rate throughout the city of Opa-locka drops, and that our officers feel respected and appreciated within this community. So thank you for the continued work, and we look forward to seeing more and more reports. Mr. Manager, if you can move forward, make sure we get these reports ahead of time, and also get this report currently that we have right now today as a commission.
Yes, sir.
You still have the floor, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So that concludes the report on the police department. Now we go into my favorite area, the 4 major challenges. Our directors have been briefed to brief the commission, the mayor, vice mayor, and the commission on the 4 major challenges. And so we're gonna move such direction at this time. I am always gonna go to the person with dual hats, well, actually 3 hats now, Mr. Austin, our water, our sewer, and our water billing. And I'm gonna have him provide an update, and shortly after that, Ms. Lazier in regards to the finance department, and then take questions from the commission, and then move forward from there. Mr. Austin. You're muted.
I would like to share the screen to provide, if I can, the first report, which is the hot button item from last meeting, is the beautification of our city. We took a scientific and engineering look at how we could best address all the areas of our city with relation to beautification. This is a week-to-week calendar of the items that we would like to address. The items denoted in red are areas that with our current staffing, we cannot address without utilizing weekend work and overtime work. To fully address these areas on a consistent basis, rather than just a short-term basis, we would need to ramp up our workforce for this area. And because of our financial challenges, the best approach for the next couple years is to do so with temporary employees. The need would be for 7 additional employees so we could address all areas of the city consistently. The managers approved the plan to move forward with the hiring of 7 individuals, and we're working expeditiously to fill that request. This, along with other items that are short-term item list, included this weekend, we replanted the entry features around the city, applying new plant material, mulching. We even upgraded the landscaping at our main entry feature, which is the one on 27th Avenue and Opa-locka Boulevard, by removing grass and installing some additional color below the display screen. A third-party contractor started the process this weekend of improving the rings around our trees and the beds for our shrubs in preparation for mulching, which would commence next week. We're expecting a large delivery of mulch, which we're gonna landscape and enhance our medians to reflect the new look in Opa-locka. We are aggressively addressing illegal dumping throughout our city. I know the long-term strategy for illegal dumping would be to go back to the Miami-Dade County to address the method in which our illegal dumping is handled right now. They are only handling residential dumping and only citing for commercial corridor. Now the abusers of the system are dumping their illegal trash in the commercial corridors. Although the county is citing and receiving the revenues for that aspect of the citing, the city has to then go behind them and pick up the illegal dumping, which is impacting our budget, and not the business owners that are responsible for the areas of dumping. So we're set to address that. In addition to the dumping, we are aggressively looking at cleaning our sidewalks, starting with the Opa-locka Boulevard stamped pavers. We are going to be bringing in a third-party contractor to pressure clean and seal those pavers to re-enhance their visibility to the public. And at the same time, it would stop the progression of weeds in the pavers. Until we enforce the sidewalk maintenance, which is incumbent upon the adjacent property owner, we are gonna be cleaning the sidewalks, spraying them with herbicide to deter the rapid growth of weeds, especially in this rainy season. So that's another one of our challenges that we are looking for expediting immediately to address our concerns until such time that we'll be able to get the additional individuals to handle the day-to-day maintenance of these places. Our next major challenge is our stormwater master plan. A few weeks ago, we approved the master plan for addressing our stormwater. This is going to prioritize our stormwater needs and allow us to systematically address around the city all of the flooding concerns. If you notice while driving down Alibaba, there's no water standing between Opa-locka Boulevard and 27th Avenue after a high rain event or a medium rain event. We had a contractor address that. Although it's a short-term solution, it has greatly improved the drivability of that roadway post the rainstorm. And we are addressing other areas in the city with a third-party contractor until such time that we have the manpower in-house to address our stormwater needs. The Cairo Lane project for assessment of the current contract and plans for the build out of that roadway is underway. The contractor is going to be working with us to clear the roadway. It's severely impacted by illegal dumping, mostly by the business owners that are in that vicinity. But we plan to remove that dumping and heighten the code compliance in that area to try and prevent a recurrence of the illegal dumping. As it relates to our consent agreement, we are aggressively working on our pump stations. Pump station number 5 is complete. Pump station number 7 is partially complete. Pump station number 8, it's undergoing lining project to be completed by November. Pump station number 4, our biggest challenge. This area, it's is degraded intensely from years of neglect and and infrastructure wear. It's going to be our largest challenge, but we are hopeful that this too will come in under the November window of opportunity for testing these stations to be in compliance by the end of this year. November is our deadline. Since this signals the end of the rainy season, we must have these stations tested by that time. Our roads and sidewalk project initiative will start in the second week of October, and we plan to have it wrapped up within 5 months. This includes the outlay of 2.6 miles of new sidewalk and 6 miles of roadway milling and resurfacing. That concludes the objective for that. I could show you the area in which we hope to address the sidewalks and milling and resurfacing. It's mostly, the sidewalks is mostly in the town center area. Milling and resurfacing is citywide. I do not have that slide available. I do not have the slide available, but you have it in your package for this meeting. I'm open to any questions or concerns at this time.
Mr. Austin, can you touch on water billing?
Water billing. We are processing our water customers on a weekly basis. So far, we have addressed 250 accounts out of 800. We have mailed out letters, second notices to our accounts holders. Most of them are owners of the property. We have mailed out 5 letters intent to lien the customers in those areas. I could provide you with a detailed plan. Mr. Manager, I was not prepared to speak on this particular item at this time. However, I could provide you with follow-up information if you so desire.
Yes, please. If you could provide me with follow-up information to send to the commission, at least by Monday, this upcoming Monday, would be greatly appreciated.
Okay. So far, we have addressed in whole for our 826 renters. We have addressed 35% of the clientele, meaning 500 out of 500, we have addressed 177 property owners. So I'd be happy to provide you with this information shortly after this meeting.
Thank you. Does that conclude your report, Mr. Austin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll move on to finance update. Ms. Jerry Lazier.
Good evening, Mayor,
If I
Commissioner.
may, please. Mayor Pagan, if I may, I just have a quick question, Mr. Austin.
All right, Mr. Manager, would you allow for us to have comments on each section between your
Yes.
report?
Yes, sir.
All right, with that, let's have the floor is open for discussion on the issues that Mr. Austin laid out. Commissioner Bass.
Thank you so much. I just have a quick, I just wanted to say, I've been doing a lot of walking around our community as of late, even so more. And I saw 3 of our pump stations on 151st. I believe there's 3 of them there, if I'm not mistaken. The second one from 151st Avenue, I was a little bit disheartened when I saw the shrubbery, the trees, and the whatever you want to call it within the enclosure of that station. And you know, we want our property owners to do their part. We need to do our part. I would appreciate if someone would take a look at it, you know, clean it out, make it look the way it should look. And that's all I wanted to say about that. So, you know, that's our pump station. It looks horrible. I don't know if you know which one I'm talking about, but it needs to be taken care of.
I do.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Bass, are you complete? Okay, she's done. All right. Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you. Mr. Manager, the report that Mr. Austin just gave, is that the city beautification initiative that we talked about at our last meeting? Because we talked about that and we were expecting, well, I was expecting not only a report, but some kind of timeline of areas. Was that what he just gave? Or did he just give a general summation? Because I heard him mention there were some areas that were going to get mulched and you had some private third-party contractors doing some other stuff, but I'm not sure the timelines of how they're supposed to be interacting. I'm was looking for some kind of scheduling of areas and or projects. I know we had mentioned some of the park areas. We had mentioned Kaboom. We had mentioned the Coachman Gardens as areas and some of the other areas around the city. Even the roundabout there by Nathan B. Young, for example, that could use some beautification. So is that the initiative he just spoke of, or is that something, a part of that or separate? And also, I thought a while back we were getting some workers, et cetera, from Career Source that was going to help us be able to be employed by the city to help us in various departments, including, I thought, Public Works, which could assist us with some of the things that have been referenced since we have short of staff. Do we know what happened to that particular initiative, or what is that falling through, or what's going on with that? Because I have asked for updates on that, but I hadn't got it. So could you speak to those items? Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, as far as your initial items, I will say, Commissioner, there are several reports that are actually pending to go out to the commission today. Including the report that Mr. Austin just provided. So I will speak to Ms. Lawson and ask her what the status of the reports are going out to the commission. Because typically, as you all know, we could gather the documentation, then one email goes out to the commission with one report with everything attached to it. I know there's at least 2 or 3 items that were completed prior to today over the last 24 to 48 hour period that has not gotten to the commission. And that is one of the items that Mr. Austin talked about. So the commission will receive that in writing. It is in writing, it is done, it just has not been transmitted to the commission. So I will check on that. As far as Career Source, Mr. Ellis is on the meeting and he will speak on that matter. Mr. Ellis.
Yes, sir. The situation with the South Florida Workforce Initiative is that we had to, went back to them and they had to give us another directions based on their funding. So right now, currently, we have advertised it on our websites. We've advertised it through our public relations organization, and we're looking for people to come out and apply for the positions. We're handling we got about 3 or 4 new applicants that came in over the last couple of weeks through the personnel department, and that's what we're doing now. We took the lead on the recruitment part because the South Florida workforce was not able to provide us the type of workers that we needed to work in that particular area.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, to the manager. I appreciate the answer, but all these folks that are unemployed and looking for work around our community and surrounding, I know it's just not limited to Opa-locka because Career Source deals, county or whatever, region, whatever, wide. But I would hope we would do a more extensive job of getting the word out that we're looking for people to work. Because I gotta believe there's some folks out there that can do some of these jobs, whatever they are, wherever they are, particularly in public works related that we're mentioning, and we don't have the staffing to do. So I hope we would do a better job of advertising or pushing that or something, let folks know where to go and how that process works to take advantage of that free funding, especially since Public Works just mentioned we don't have the manpower, and it's an ongoing challenge trying to keep up with some of the cleaning and beautification and some of the regular duties that we know that we have to do. So I hope that we would do that. With regard to the report, Mr. Manager, I will wait to get it because I was hoping to see it, to see the timelines that are laid out and what was planned in terms of any initiatives. So I will wait for that and then I'll respond accordingly to it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Mayor, to the manager, Mr. Manager, I think I heard Mr. Austin said that the county is citing the businesses for the illegal dumping, but then we have to use our resources to go and pick up the illegal dumping, even though we're not getting the finances from it. Is that what I understood him to say?
That is what you understood. That is what you understood him to say.
Okay, well, that doesn't seem fair. There's nobody we can talk to about that, because if they're getting the funding, and then we have to use our resources to remove it, that don't seem like it's a fair playing field.
So I've had some conversations with Mr. Austin, and we are approaching the point where we may approach the county as far as trying to renegotiate that agreement in regards to our bulk waste collection and illegal dumping and various other matters as well. So we are looking into that in the next upcoming budget year.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Manager, for those comments about the boat pickup. I was actually going to bring that up because I do know, in other communities, actually not in Miami-Dade County, but in Broward, they have a consistent boat pickup. I know cities, I think Miramar have it, and I know that our residents, would benefit for something like that, and it probably help cut down on illegal dumping. Also, I know that as far as our dumping site, we do have one that is allocated from the county that is not really that accessible for our residents in our community. As many of them walk and, just don't have means to transportation. So having something that's, close to our community, more accessible, would definitely benefit our residents. So as you enter into negotiations, with the county and the possible exploring those issues, I would hope that you would bring, those issues up. Just to kind of segue a little bit to talk about the Savage Yards, Mr. Manager. So I noticed I think we kind of talked about beautification and just kind of code enforcement before we had a storm a few weeks back. And I know we talked about the Savage Yards and just kind of enforcing the height of the cars that are stationed on the work site. I'm still riding by there, and I still see, as an eyesore to our city. So just wanted to kind of know like where we were as far as enforcing the code and or holding those business owners of the like accountable.
Mr. Mayor, if I can answer that question.
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Perez, are you still on the meeting? If you can hear this message, I will direct the police department. As you all know, the code enforcement department falls under the police department now again, and they fall under the direct supervision of Lieutenant Perez. And I will make sure that he gets with Sergeant Steele and they tackle those issues and try to find a game plan to kind of deal with those salvage yards and having them remove those vehicles from that height as number one, as an eyesore and as a safety hazard, especially during hurricane season and at any time period. So we will have a written plan of action. Lieutenant Perez, if you can have a written plan of action done by the end of the week in regards to that. As far as the sidewalk parking as well, so I can share with the commission, that would be great.
Understood.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Mr. Mayor.
All right. I believe that was everyone. Okay. All right. Mr. Austin, again, thank you for the work putting in to continue to beautify the city and address our major challenges, especially with the flooding. Are we making sure we take in before and after pictures of the work being done, addressing these flooding issues, these sidewalks, and letting the public know? I know one of the reasons why we enlisted a PR is to ensure that they understand the good work that we're doing within the city of Opa-locka and promoting it. And many other things that were noted seem as though things that could be posted online as before, especially the flooding, before and after, and addressing those gutters. Are we taking those pictures, and what are we doing? And are we and can we share them?
We are taking pictures. At this moment, we're not sharing them, but we plan to do so coming forward.
All right. And Mr. Manager, as I said, with the police report and all these reports, we would love to have this beforehand so that we can review and ensure that we can give feedback during this time, and also see the data in black and white. So we look forward to seeing that information, but much respect for the movement that's been taking place to address these issues throughout the city of Opa-locka. One of the things I want to make sure that we do discuss in detail is the accountability. As many of us has noted and brought up issues, it continues to be, we bring up issues and things are taken care of. And we want to make sure things are taken care of irregardless. If our citizens bring issues up, if police, code enforcement, anyone brings things up, that they're swiftly taken care of, and not just us here on the commission when we come in these public meetings. And make sure that everyone is held accountable to ensuring that the beautification of the city is a standard that we are continuing to raise over the course of the upcoming weeks, months, and years. So with that, Mr. Manager, you may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll continue on with my report with our last update from our finance consultant, Ms. Jerry Lazar.
Good evening, Mayor, commissioners, my colleagues and guests. I'm going to share my screen, if that's okay. Oops, not what I want to share. Let's see. I don't want to share that either. Just give me a minute.
It's okay, the mayor screenshot and everything, so.
Is he? Okay, hold on, let me try this again. I thought I was good at this. Hold on, just bear with me. It's who's doing that? Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, great. It's a memo that I wrote earlier today to the manager that kind of highlights what's going on with the department. So I'd like to say that the oversight, management, and recommendations made to the city manager has been to contribute to some progress updates that I'm going to share with you today. And it also is important to note that not the finance department, but just the finances in general of the city is one of the 4 major challenges. And I think a lot of what I'm going to share addresses one of the major challenges, which is the finances of the organization. So the first thing I wanted to highlight was that the city had been behind in preparing the annual audit for the CITT funding that it receives from Miami-Dade County, which is the surtax dollars for transit and transportation. The 2015, 16, and 17 audits had not been done. And as a result, there was funds that were withheld from the city for so many years. So it was earlier this year with the help of the CIP department that $901,000 came from coffers and helped to positively improve the general fund balance in fiscal 20. So that's the first thing I wanted to mention. The second thing I wanted to highlight is that in 2014, I believe the city had some grants from EPA funds. And as a result, and I think the grants were related to the pump station work that Mr. Austin kind of highlighted, the city failed to submit the cost reimbursements to get the funding. And so a letter was received by the city manager's office to follow up on that. And we were able to work with EPA to assist the city in closing out the grant and receiving $214,000, joint effort with the entire finance department. And that came in this fiscal year, fiscal 20, and it also improved the fund balance of the city in this fiscal year. The third thing I want to kind of highlight is the completion of the audit. The city has definitely been working to improve compliance with financial audits that are required as a local government. Obviously the 15, 16, and 17 audit were done in previous fiscal years, but it was the 18 audit that was completed this fiscal year recently in May. The team now within the finance department have been working aggressively to try to work to reconcile the books of the city to prepare for the upcoming audit for fiscal 19. I believe the city recently approved an audit committee that's going to be assisting the city in selecting an audit firm as the city is required to rebid or publicly try to competitively solicit a new firm to come in and do the financial audit, not necessarily a new firm, but to competitively solicit the financial audit firm. I also wanted to highlight, it was last year the city received a letter from City National Bank, and they had been receiving letters previously before that, but it was a letter that was received that highlighted a lot of funding that was being withheld by the bank as a result of the city not being in compliance with their debt covenants for the 2015 bond. And that's because the city went into financial emergency. So it was the finance department that worked to advise the city manager to start to schedule appointments with the City National Bank to start to see if they could negotiate the withholding of those funds. And it was this year earlier with the new city attorney and the manager's office that they were able to they were able to negotiate the withholding of those funds. And that transpired into $5.2 million being released from that money from the City National Bank that assisted the city. The city used $2.5 million of it to reduce its bonds, the 2015 A and B bond, which is the bond that was used to purchase the building. So $2.5 million was used to reduce principal debt, which is significant. It also, the city received $2.5 million of it as cash into its bank, which assisted in increasing the general fund as well and into the operations of the city. About $115,000 was used for legal fees, but the point is $5.2 million came into the city's funds. Half of it went towards city operations and the other half was used to reduce some of the debt. Previous to 2020, 0% of the evaluations within the finance department for its staff had been performed. And we were recently able to complete 100% of the performance evaluations within the department. One of the bigger issues within the financial affairs of the city has to do with the debt. So the city has a significant amount of debt that some of it was being paid on time and some of it was not. The bonds have always been consistently paid on time. However, one of the things that were not being paid happened to be the red light camera debt, which is a portion of the debt that the city gets, a portion of the revenues that the city gets from red light camera violations. A portion of it is supposed to go back and be remitted to the state of Florida into their general fund. So the city had not been making those payments, but this year, the city successfully made a payment of $934,000 for the period of October 1st until August 23rd. That payment was made about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and the city is going to continue to make the payments for fiscal 20 to make sure that they're in compliance with making the payments. I believe the city is also working with some of their representatives to see if they can possibly get some of the debt that was previous to fiscal 20 negotiated in some sort of way, but that has not come to fruition, so I won't dig too much into that. The next thing that I want to talk about has to do with as a result of the pandemic, there's been a significant amount of funding that came into Miami-Dade County. It's $100 million. 75 million went towards reimbursement to cities for operating costs, while 25 million went towards cities only being able to access that money to provide program funding to their community. And so one of the things that the manager requested is for us to see if we can try to access some of the municipal program funds so that we can do something for the community. I know that was something that was big with respect to, I believe, Commissioner Davis, him wanting to do some kind of program as a result with utility and rental assistance. And so we drafted a program last week and was able to submit it on time to Miami-Dade County, and they submitted paperwork sharing with us that they approved the format of the program, but it is going to Miami-Dade County commissioners on October the 6th to truly approve the funding. We requested $2.1 million, $2 million to go towards assistance, which would be rental and utility assistance to the residents of the city of Opa-locka, while 100,000 would be used to offset perhaps payroll costs and contract costs associated with having to implement the program. I'll share briefly, this is our login basically with Miami-Dade County for the CARES Act. And as you can see, these are all of the different things that we've been submitting for or plan to submit for. 90% of them have to do with the operating dollars that's available. So we're gonna go after trying to get reimbursed for the sanitation work, the testing support that we've had to have done, the first responders. I believe there's some hazard pay that the city's having to pay to the police officers that is gonna be reimbursable, the food distribution drive, the remote work accommodations, they will be reimbursing for a portion of that. And I know I'm working with Mr. Anathan to get them to get FEMA to reimburse for things that Miami-Dade County will not be submitting. But as you can see here, the program I just mentioned that's pending board approval, which is on October the 6th, is the City of Opa-locka Emergency Corona Residential Rental and Utility Assistance Program that I just highlighted. And again, we requested $2.1 million. We don't know if we're gonna get it, but I would share that it'd be important to start having conversations with some of the elected officials so that they can know what kind of program that the city is bringing before the commission, so that at least, if not 100% of the money that we're asking for is allocated, a significant portion of it could be. So one of the divisions of the department, from my perspective and what I've recommended, is to try to professionalize the department, to increase the capacity of the department, also to work on having, I want to say, accurate and more routine financial reports, and also for more accountability. But with that comes changes within the department. It really does, in order to make those strategic decisions. And as a result of some of those changes, we were able to recruit an accountant that had municipal government experience this year. And as a result of that, we've been able to complete the bank reconciliations for the water and sewer account. And I think that is tremendous, because we're actually going into the audit for fiscal 19 with the reconciliation already prepared. And that's one of the things that the city was not able to do in previous times. I think another thing that's really important to note is that previous to January of this year, the city had operated for 1.5 years without a budget administrator. So we came in and we assisted the HR department in recruiting a budget administrator. And I think you can see the changes reflected in the work that's been done over the 9 months. So I'm really thankful that we were able to find Mr. Anathan. He's definitely come in and professionalized the department. And with Mr. Anathan, we've been able to submit a 5-year recovery plan that the city had not been able to submit, and also have vastly improved the strength of the budgetary process. But a lot of that comes with the fact that you were able to hire someone who had the background and the knowledge and the experience to do the work. That is crucial in the work that we do. I will also state, in the theme of trying to professionalize the department, we actually submitted an acceptance offer. Well, we submitted an offer to an accountant who's actually a licensed CPA. He has not accepted the position just yet, but my fingers are crossed, and I'm praying that he does accept the position. What this would do is that it will be the first CPA employed by the city in probably 5 years, is having consultants who are CPAs on your team. So some updates. So I just spoke earlier about us completing the 17 and the 15, 16, and 17 CITT audits with Miami-Dade County. Well, once we completed the audit, we started working with the CIP department to start working on 28 CITT reimbursements, and then we're going to move on to 2019. So we're wrapping up the 2018 CITT audit with Miami-Dade County, and it's estimated that we may get approximately $500,000. It may be more, but I'm going to stick with the $500,000 number until we actually finalize the report. So that's something that's going to be forthcoming rather soon. We've been working aggressively with Kathy Jackson's office to try to get this report done, even in the midst of COVID and the remote working. What's one of the things that's helping to make the audit process a little bit better is that when we came on board, there really was no process in terms of who was accountable for different steps or tasks within the finance department. And so to prepare for the audit, one of the things that we did is that we created a plan where we kind of assigned different roles and responsibilities to different folks within the department based on their levels and their skill sets and the training provided. And so that has really been tremendous in helping us to make progress in preparing for the 19 audit. We've also decided to also create a monthly operational plan as a result of some discussions with the manager, but also it's something that's normally done with most finance departments where they outline some of the reoccurring items that each person is responsible for. I would say before this, there was no kind of delineation between what people were responsible for. And so this is helping to professionalize the department as well. So last year, the city's operational audit with the Florida Auditor General was completed. And there were 99 findings, and of the findings, 35 of them were related to, I'd say, financial matters that the finance department should be overseeing. I'd like to give just a little bit of an update on this, only because policies and procedures, and I know Commissioner Davis speaks a lot about having policies and procedures to try to improve just the operations and the management perspective from the commission side. And one of the things I will share is that we've been able to create 13 drafted administrative policies out of the findings. And we've also currently in the process of drafting 7. Not all of them require finding policies. Some of them are actually just fixing a problem, but not necessarily creating a policy or surrounding it. But we're working on 7 of them right now. And the last thing I wanted to touch on has to do with bank reconciliations. Your cash flow is the lifeblood of any organization. Doesn't matter if it's for-profit, nonprofit, or if it's a government agency. And one of the things that we've identified at the city, and which was also highlighted in the Florida Auditor General's operational audit, was finding 22. And finding 22 talks about how the city had not been preparing bank reconciliations on a monthly basis. Most organizations prepare a bank reconciliation on a monthly basis so they can monitor and manage their cash flow. And I think that contributes a lot to, or contributed a lot to, part of why the city also went into a financial emergency, because you can't really manage or monitor your cash flow without seeing what's going on with the bank activity. And so I think we could not find any bank reconciliations performed for 14, 15, or 16. And as a result of that, there was a disclaimer of opinion on the financial reports. And so the former city manager asked, what does it take for us to get a better opinion? And one of the things that I shared is we need to produce bank reconciliations. I couldn't imagine an external audit firm coming off and signing off on your opinion without a bank reconciliation prepared. And so that was one of the targets. And so as a result of that, bank reconciliations were prepared for the 17 audit, which is why the city was able to get a better opinion, and also for the 18 audit. And we're continuing that. So I shared earlier that our new accountant was able to do the bank reconciliations for the 15-19 audit for one of the bank accounts. And that's tremendous progress. But the city has 20 bank accounts. And as a result of our new plan, we've been able to get with the team to get 11 of those bank accounts reconciled. That's 12 bank reconciliations that were done for 11 bank accounts. And we have 9 more to go to try to finalize this finding and also to be prepared for the financial audit. The last thing I wanted to kind of highlight is The $179,000 grant that was just approved, which I'm so proud of because it was back in 2018 that the commission actually approved for some grant support. And as a result of that, although it took 2 years to get the money, the city successfully recently in a previous discussion approved the $179,000, which is going towards the Parks and Recreation. But that's as a result of being able to have folks within the team that could actually write the grant to submit to Miami-Dade County. So I'm really proud to hear that that was recently approved. And that is my update. If anybody should have any questions, I can take them. And if I can't answer them this evening, I'll write them down and address them at a later date.
Commissioner Bass.
Just a quick question, just clarification on my part to Ms. Lazier. You mentioned 115,000. Was that towards the bankers' attorneys?
I think that was legal fees and other fees. I don't have the details in front of me, but it's some legal fees for the attorneys because they have been pursuing this with the city for quite some time. I think it was 2018 that former manager Daughtry brought it to my attention. However, when we look back at some of the paperwork, they had been submitting letters to the city prior to 19. So they had, I guess their attorneys had put some time into it, and that was the fees that were negotiated, but I'll let the manager or the city attorney discuss that further as I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Paget.
Yes, through the mayor. Yes, we had negotiated the amount, and at the end of it, the attorney came back then and said they were owed, I believe, upwards of about almost $90,000 in legal fees for the time that they said they were pursuing it. And so that was a part of what you all came back on for an amendment to include that as a part of the deal, because they would not settle without having those fees included in it. But overall, of course, you know, the benefit of doing the deal outweighed their fees. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly, for sure.
Any other comments on the financial report?
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Thank you. Just want to say thank you to the manager, the finance consultant, Ms. Lazar, and just our whole finance team, Mr. Anathan, our budget director. You know, I'm liking what I'm hearing. You know, I think we're headed in the right direction. You know, I think, you know, this administration, you know, this commission is definitely, you know, excited and happy with the results of our team. I know me in particular, as it relates to rent and rental assistance, you know, as Miami-Dade County has ultimately gave the authorization to process foreclosures and evictions, although they might not be enforced as of September 1. You know, this is major. You know, we're a very small community, but we have a large concentration of renters. So, you know, I know we are in a financial emergency, and I know that we might not have the resources to, you know, ultimately, you know, give our residents what is ultimately needed to sustain them during this pandemic. But I just want to, you know, say thank you to staff for following up on these concerns and working with the county. And to my colleagues, I encourage you to reach out to the county commission. You know, I personally will be reaching out to Commissioner Jordan and others on the county commission in support of, you know, that funding and for our residents, and definitely, you know, pushing the need forward. Because like I said, we are a heavy renter occupied community. So we definitely want to, you know, make sure we're out fighting for our residents and, you know, definitely, you know, being there in this time of need. So thanks again to the administration, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else? All right, Mr. Manager, does this conclude all your reports?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Again, I want to thank everyone. I've been asking the manager to ensure that we get these updates on our 4 major challenges and things throughout the city so that we are completely transparent and accountable as a government. We want to make sure that the people realize the work that we're doing and we get those updates. Look forward to seeing those updates and writing the information being transmitted to us as a commission so we can review it in a timely manner. It's good to see a lot of progress has been made within the finance department. There's been a lot of high good comments from the state in regards to the movement of our budget and our finances. So kudos to Tri-Merge for moving this forward, and our budget director, Mr. Anathan, and Mr. Manager for taking care of these issues. And I think that was everything. In terms of any other questions for the manager.
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Kelly.
this is a general question, not related necessarily to the four things that you mentioned. Mr. Manager, I know you've been out and welcome back, but I've been waiting on the Park Summit report. I've been waiting on census outreach, an update on that as well. And as you said, the beautification, I guess, is somewhere that we're getting, so I'll wait on that one. The other items that I wanted to bring to your attention, as the mayor mentioned earlier, in a general sense, when we ask or request for things to be looked at or looked into, I definitely want to get a response, even if the response is, we're still working on it. I have been asking about a house down on Rutland across from Cuyahoga now for many, many months, and it's still sitting there as an eyesore. The neighbors are complaining left and right. And as Commissioner Bass alluded to earlier, if we're not going to ensure that we, hold stuff accountable, it's been there forever. So, and I've asked about the initiative about cutting or having a contractor cutting it and citing the property, but it is a tremendous eyesore that none of us would want to live next to. And there is no way that we cannot see it. I've sent pictures to you about it. So again, I'm just bringing those things to your attention that I've already submitted, along with the Family Dollar, again, that all of us have talked about. We, mentioned in our reports or in conversation, the same kind of challenges with Family Dollar still existing, including folks living in the alley, which is not really the store's responsibility. But we need to address that and those kind of things going forward. I really would appreciate it, as well as the concerns I had submitted for Meet Me Monday. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for all the reports. And as you said, hopefully we get all of those things in written form that we can have to peruse. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner Kelly. Echo those concerns brought up. Communication is very key and critical for us as elected officials to do our job and ensure that we are or a liaison between this government and the people. And we need that information as soon as possible. For example, the funding that we requested for the rental assistance program, today is the first time I've heard about that. That is something that is going before the vote in the county. And that's something that we need to do our due diligence as elected officials to ensure it gets passed so that our residents can benefit from programs like that. We need to know that in advance when those things are happening so that we can move those items forward and do our job. So we need to make sure that we get proper communication management so that we know these issues that we communicate are being resolved and responded to in a timely manner. And it's not always us that have to say these things in order for them to move anywhere. So accountability is very critical for us moving forward, and we look forward to seeing that. I know one thing that was not mentioned that we've been asking about for quite a while, well, actually two things, is an update on our operational audit, which is coming up in December. And we have to prepare for that. That is going to be one of the major levers in which the state of Florida, which we had a discussion earlier this year, where they was attempting to dissolve it as a city, and operational audit was one of those findings. So we need to make sure that we are on top of that and responsive to that, and want to get those updates about where we are with the operational audit during these meetings so that we are keeping track of that. and then also the code enforcement investigation. We've mentioned Gloria Apartments, we mentioned Family Dollars, we mentioned sidewalks, we mentioned beautification, and a lot of that has to deal with ensuring proper code enforcement all throughout the city of Opa-locka. And that's something we continue to address, and we want to make sure that we are clear about where we are with those things. So, Mr. Manager, if you take a few moments to respond to that before we go to our official board reports.
As far as the code enforcement inquiry that the commission requested, an executive summary was submitted yesterday. Hopefully by this time, the commission has reviewed that executive summary. The last paragraph of the executive summary stated that I will be scheduling a workshop in the near future, discuss potential plan of action and request input from the commission in regards to the matter, because there are some very serious and significant issues that exist in the results and findings that I have, and they are going to take some very drastic measures to resolve them. As we sit here, we speak about houses that are blighted. We speak of Family Dollar, that's a bi-weekly email that goes out that I'm sure you have a code enforcement supervisor and code enforcement officers that listen to this meeting. You have sites that are under land development that tickets disappear off properties and various different things like that. And so, of course, it's a significant issue. I attempted to address the issue by moving the code enforcement department under building and licensing. That resolved nothing, actually made it worse. Moved it back under the police department since we have a new leadership under the police department. Plan of action is forthcoming, which was stated in the report. So that is what I have to say in regards to the code enforcement investigation. As far as Commissioner Kelly's inquiries, I will get with the assistant city manager. That lies on him and his responsibility. I forward this information to him. He's aware of the responses that are due to you. I am aware of conversations that the assistant city manager has had with you, Commissioner Kelly, in regards to your concerns. And I'll leave it at that. And I will have a conversation with you, Commissioner Kelly, within the next couple of days in regards to some of my points of view, and my apologies for the lack of response of the city manager's office. As I look at my computer now, I see a series of emails starting to be sent out from the city manager's office in regards to response to inquiries based on this commission meeting that's going on right now at this moment, which is unsatisfactory. So the buck stops here with me, and I apologize, and I will deal with those things accordingly. So in saying that, when I came here, it'd be a year, October 15th, we had a myriad of issues going on in a myriad of different departments within the city. And as I spoke to the commission individually, and as I spoke to you all in various commission meetings, I only can deal with and revamp one department at a time in order to prevent, create, or attempt to not create disarray or dysfunction within government operation. So slowly but surely, we're going through each department and we're making those appropriate changes. And I will continue to do my job in the best way possible to achieve the goals that the City Commission wants and desires for itself and its residents and the people that drive to, through, commute, and work, live, and own businesses within the city of Opa-locka. That concludes my statement, Mr. Mayor.
Could you touch on the operational audit pretty quickly?
So as far as the operational audit is concerned, as we discussed during your Monday meeting briefly, Mr. Anathan is overseeing that. We are out of budget mode right now. We're out of 5-year plan mode right now. Now we're refocusing emphasis on operational audit. There was a report that was provided in regards to a binder of information, various policies and procedures and various actions that were done that did not meet the satisfaction of some. So we are going through that. I know Mr. Anthony's going through that binder and revamping it. And I'm sure on Monday or probably tomorrow, he'll probably provide me some type of update on when something to be prepared to go out to the commission as far as a thorough update in regards to the operational audit. I will tell you, and I will double check with Melinda Miguel's office. Because of COVID-19, I do not foresee the state coming down in December because they're off schedule as far as their follow-up inspections or audits to the various operational audits they could have conducted statewide. So I don't foresee them coming in December, but that is a topic I have talked to the state about as far as if there's a timeline when they are coming back down and there is a specific requirement of a specific percentage or number of items that have to be rectified. Of course, we want us to be 100% compliant. So I'm aware of that and we're working towards that, and the commission will be provided a more thorough report in regards to the operational audit next week. We've got past the millage, we've gotten past the budget, we've gotten past the 5-year plan. Now all focus can go on the operational audit, which is that linchpin, and the commission will be provided a detailed, thorough report on that shortly.
Thank you. Any other questions or concerns for the manager? All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any official board reports?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, moving on to our new item on the agenda, future agenda items. So we'll discuss upcoming agenda items. Does anyone in the commission have any future agenda items you want to bring forward that we can particularly vote on and move this forward for our staff to develop resolutions and ordinances around? Commissioner Bass?
Just quickly, I would like for us to consider a beautification project where each member of the dais will adopt a particular area in the city and have that to be a part of their beautification project. Thank you.
And Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Madam Attorney?
So this is the first time you all will have it on your agenda, and per the ordinance that you passed, this is where the city commissioners would agree to put it on the next agenda item for discussion. So what you do is essentially the Commissioner Bass would make a motion, and if it's seconded and it passed by a majority, then it goes on the very next agenda for a full discussion where staff will bring back, not necessarily a resolution, because you wouldn't have the resolution, you're just discussing it to determine whether you're going to have a resolution. Tonight, you're just discussing, you're not getting into the specifics of the item, but what staff will do is they will then research it, bring back, the issues and things that they would need to support the discussion, and then you will decide how you move forward on it. So I just wanted to interject because it's not actually the creation of a resolution or an ordinance for the next agenda. This is your first meeting to, actually put the item on the agenda for the next agenda for a full discussion that you'll have preparation behind and information so that you can make an informed decision about whatever your issue is.
All right, thank you, Madam Attorney.
Mayor.
Commissioner Kelly.
Thank you. And that was always one of my concerns about how this structure works. So hearing that is basically going to take 3 opportunities of discussion before it actually gets to the agenda. So having said that, I don't have a problem with seconding the motion by Commissioner Bass to bring it back for discussion. I'll second that. And along with that, since the attorney just weighed in on how to process, I guess it's up to the manager or whoever would be proffering, bringing it up, speak with the manager what their thoughts are on how they bring back information. I don't understand how that would go. But the reason I'm seconding it, I think we do need to have some kind of plan that goes year round, or have something in place that we do as we're going about beautifying the city. My question is, will that have any impact on anything that's currently being done or proposed to be done at this moment? Because we had already talked about doing some things beautification-wide or in certain areas of the city. Would this impair that or impede this in any way going forward? I guess that's a question, Mr. Mayor, to the attorney or the manager.
Well, Commissioner.
Madam Attorney, could you hold for a moment? All right, so Commissioner Bass, are you making a motion to propose a resolution for the elected officials to adopt areas of the city for beautification purposes?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor,
All right, so,
if I may.
all right, so moved by, okay, Madam Attorney.
Mr. Mayor, this is not for you to have the discussion now or have a resolution on the next agenda. This is for you to put it on the next agenda for a discussion. So you just have enough discussion so that you know generally what the issue is, and then you put the issue on the next agenda for a, and then staff has notice and staff can be prepared, but it's not a resolution for the next agenda. It's a discussion. It's just enough for information, because right now we don't know what to even put in a resolution. So it's for you all to discuss it on the next agenda to what would that look like? And staff might bring back some ideas or something, but it's for whoever the presenter is to have information, to be able to, have it research, talk to staff, have a plan of, if you will. It's not for you all to discuss it tonight. It's just enough information just for you to put it on the agenda and have a discussion at the next meeting.
So, Madam Attorney, what you're saying is that the elected official makes a motion to put something on the discussion item.
It's a future agenda item. Yes, sir. That's what you passed. You passed an item called future agenda item. That's how it works in other cities. And when Commissioner Bass proffered it, when she made a statement at the last meeting when it passed, she said that this is not for, my point is not, I forget the language she used exactly, but it's not for us to be able, it's just for us to have just enough information to be able to vote on it for the next meeting. And that's how it's supposed to work. That's how it works. So it's not for you to bring a resolution back, because staff wouldn't know. That's kind of the same thing you've been doing, right? We're kind of trying to figure out what it is that you want, and maybe you don't want it. And it's really staff driven, as opposed to what you all determine as a body you want for the agenda. So this is just, so what Commissioner Bass is asking for is for, basically a discussion. So although you asked about a resolution, that's not really the intent of this future agenda item. It's really supposed to be something that you all have a discussion about on your agenda, so that we can be prepared, staff can be prepared, and be prepared to draft something. Maybe you determine after you have the discussion that whatever it is, and I'm not saying this item, but whatever it is not needed. And so then it doesn't go any further. And then it prevents, the issue is it prevents, kind of the same thing where we're preparing this stuff, but it may not at the end of the day have the vote. So now you're just trying to get it up for discussion, so you all can have a healthy discussion about it. I hope I'm making sense. But this is the first time, and I realize that. So, I'm trying to talk through it so that you sort of know how it works for agendas.
All right, so in the future, definitely brief us before these meetings. But one thing that I'm trying to understand, during future agenda items, this is where we will propose future agenda items for discussion under future agenda items. And then once we have that proposed discussion, then it will be more thought out at the next meeting. And then we would vote to make it a resolution.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it takes 2 meetings to propose something on the agenda.
Really, it's just one, really it's one meeting. You're putting it on an agenda. You're giving your time and the time, the notice to staff to be able to have good a good item for you. And I look at it as one meeting because I look at it as going forward from here. Maybe the first time it's two, but really the next time it's just you bring it forth one meeting, and the next meeting you can have an item and you vote on it, right? So
Okay,
this time before, because you're just starting, it's it sounds like it's convoluted, but really it works very well. So this meeting, you put it on for the next meeting and you discuss it and determine how you want it, if you want it, if you want to workshop it, however you want to handle it. And then the next meeting, you may decide that you want to have it put on as a resolution, and then we prepare the legislation and we go forward.
So you're saying this first meeting is going to be an exception. This meeting right now is an exception, but moving forward, we would propose an item. The rest of the commission would put a motion. I would like, for example, Commissioner Basil would like to do a resolution where commissions adopt certain sections of the city, and then it gets second. We discuss the details of it. We flush it out. That gives staff enough information to develop a resolution that will go on the next agenda if we vote to put it on the next agenda.
Yes, that's right. If you, or whatever you decide to do with it, right? So you would basically, tonight, you're just voting to have a future agenda item of X, right? And then on the next agenda, you have that item on, and then, staff knows it's on, and if there's information or research that has to be done, they're ready to help you have that discussion. And then from that discussion, you may decide, okay, we want to move forward with whatever this issue X is, and then we prepare the legislation and you vote on it at the following meeting. So it's a kind of an upstart right now, but from now on, it will be, you'll be in a flow with putting it on, voting. It's, so the first time you're, yes, you have, it's going to be, 3 touches, but from now on, it will just be 2. It's just the starting the process that you're doing right now tonight, because it just passed at the last meeting.
Got it. Okay.
Mayor.
All right. Yeah, if you can detail that in writing so we're very clear about that, that'll be very helpful. Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. Please give that in writing, because I still hear, she said 2 touches. I still see 3 before it actually becomes something of legislation, but I'll wait. Maybe I'm just not hearing correctly. Well, having said that, I mean, she said we don't need a motion. We just have to discuss. So I have no problem with it coming back to be just.
Yes, sir. You do need a motion.
Wait, Commissioner. Madam Attorney, let Commissioner Kelly.
Yeah, so we need the motion. I'll second it so it can be discussed a little bit. But after when you get to the discussion part of the motion, I guess I'll weigh in my question.
Yeah, I think you've already done the necessary, just enough information already to know what the issue is. And then you all would basically, maybe you want to have some more discussion, I don't know. But let me read from you what it says. So future agenda item under your new ordinance is, unless otherwise set forth herein, the city commissioners shall agree by a majority vote on items to be placed on a commission agenda on a commission agenda. Decisions regarding the placement of an agenda item shall be made by the commission no later than the meeting immediately preceding the placement of the item to be discussed and voted upon. So basically, this is the meeting preceding, and then the placement of the item is going to go on the next agenda. So you just want just enough information. You do have to have a motion and a second. And then if it has a majority vote, then it goes to the next agenda, and then that's where you discuss it, right? And that was the intent of what the guy brought up, the League of Cities. So that way you don't have situations where, again, staff is doing a whole bunch of work and then it doesn't really have the necessary support. Right now, you'll know if you have 3 votes to put it on as an item to discuss, then you discuss it and staff has time to prepare and help you all prepare. You have time to follow up with staff and craft it in a way, or find out the background information and research that you need to make it some good legislation, right? And that's thoughtful and thought out. And then you bring it forward if you decide to do that, and then you vote on it.
Got it. All right. So for the purpose of this meeting, I want to make sure we vote through Robert's Rules of Order. So I do have a motion and a second. So now the floor is open for discussion on this item. Any thoughts or other additional details or questions for Commissioner Bass on her item?
Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes. To the attorney, until this item actually comes in resolution, anything we do prior is operated under the old structure, correct?
I'm not really clear of your question, Commissioner Kelly, but right now, at this point, it's just enough information for you to put on as an item for discussion on the next agenda. And that's all. I don't know what you mean, the old structure, but that's all.
Well, I'm referencing just beautification. Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, we gotta come on, decorum. We need to make sure people complete their thoughts first before speaking. So, Madam Attorney, are you finished answering the question?
Yes, sir.
All right, go ahead, Commissioner Kelly.
No, when I said old structure, I meant there's already been discussion about beautification and beautification initiatives. So Commissioner Bass is proposing something that's going to put it into a potentially commission or elected official zone. I'm asking because we've already talked about doing some things in various areas. The man has already proposed, and he's sending us some stuff, I guess, on beautification. Would that have an impact on this? That's what I'm asking.
Is that for me, you said?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, to the attorney.
Okay, so, and I guess what I'm saying is those kind of things are going to be ferreted out at your next meeting when you discuss it. I don't know what that means. I don't know what her measure is. I have no idea. But if you're interested in the issue going forward, which I would, think it sounds like you are, then you'll talk through those issues at the next meeting.
All right, any other discussion on the proposed resolution or ordinance or legislation? Or discussion item. Okay. Commissioner Bass, I do have a few points. I'm in support of the accountability factor of having people be able to have look and I guess make sure that certain areas are done. I do want to make sure that there's a certain level and standard throughout the city of Opa-locka in terms of these beautifications. And I also want to make sure that how would you choose a certain area, who would choose what area, those things are flushed out. But the most important, because one of the things I was going to propose is an accountability of the beautification of the city that doesn't rely upon us as elected officials asking and for this during that there's just a standard of grass being cut, trash being picked up, mulch being laid, things being fixed across the city and ensuring that those things are taken care of, period. And that's been a big concern that we've been having in the city of Opa-locka for far too long. And I want to see some legislation that can put some accountability measures for those things. So if this is one way, I'm down for it, but I want to make sure that we have a standard of beautification across the city that management ensures and is enforced, and there are measures of accountability if it's not.
You're asking me for a response?
I'm just putting more feedback into the mix, the discussion on it right now. That's,
I only
so,
said, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
Okay, I only said what I did because I know the next meeting will be where we would discuss whatever we decide to put on the agenda. That's why I only said what I did. So I don't think the discussion right now would be appropriate because it would take away from the upcoming meeting when we would have to make that decision, if that makes sense to you. The point is just to give enough information to see if any of you are interested in taking it forward.
Got it. All right. So do we have a vote on this item for commissioners to adopt certain areas of the city to be placed on the discussion of future agenda items? I got
that. You don't have to.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor.
You don't have to have that discussion right now. It's like she's just bringing forth the item for you to put on the next agenda to discuss all of that, whether it's specific items, one area, whatever it is. You don't have to have that.
Yeah.
It's not for tonight. Is not for that discussion. And you just enough
Right.
information to go on the next agenda.
Got it. Anyone else have anything that they want to put on the next agenda item?
Mr. Mayor, I have one.
Hold up, wait.
I'll let Commissioner, she have to finish it.
Again, I'm sorry. The point is, I just need 3 of you to say, let's put it on the agenda item. And we move on to whoever else has something that would like to place on the agenda item. I'm just trying to make it simple, and then we'll be able to discuss it later. If you don't feel if that's something that you would like to adopt, a street, a lake, a pond, whatever the case may be, that's fine too. But I would love to have your support in this first one, at least let's see how it works. I would love to adopt a street. You know, my street will be better than all your streets anyway, so it would be competition time. So thank you very much for that. I'm just kidding. I'm done. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. So I just wanted to just kind of bring up the issue of independent contractors and ultimately the
Mr. Mayor.
Excuse me, Vice Mayor. I don't think you all had a vote on the last item.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Commissioner Baz, could you state the motion that you're making? And then we'll have a second.
Okay. The motion is to place on the future agenda where an elected official will have the opportunity to adopt a lake, street, a lake, however, you know, whatever you would choose to.
Okay.
A part of the beautification project.
Is there a second?
I have a second, Mr. Mayor. It was second by Commissioner Kelly.
Okay, second by Commissioner Kelly.
Unless he changes his mind.
All right, so we're voting on the item.
Yep.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Burke. Commissioner Burke. Vice Mayor Davis.
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes.
Commissioner Baz.
Yes.
Mayor Pygant.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Vice Mayor Davis.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I just wanted to bring up the issue. As you know, we had the public presentation at our last regular commission meeting. Mrs. Sarah Fuchs, who is a resident of Miami Beach, who's actually been working on a grassroots level with the commission and administration over there to pretty much implement the same protections that are afforded to employees under the Civil Rights Acts and various layers of just equity laws provided by states. I know that there is some liability, associated with that. And I know we have our challenges, with our contractors and just kind of the historical context of the city and being diligent and paying our contractors on time and that sort of thing. So I know that there's some liability that may be associated with it, which I have yet to receive. But I would like to put it out there, that, I know Commissioner Kelly said, he would look forward to seeing something come forward. So here I am proposing an item. I would hope that we, would at least consider all aspects of the issue and, weigh all the options, as we move forward and implement those sort of protections to make our workforce a little more equitable. So, I'd like to put a motion on the floor to bring the item at the next, as a discussion item, at the next regular commission meeting.
All right, moved by Vice Mayor Davis.
Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly.
Again, I'm, yes, I'll second.
All right.
Discuss it.
All right. So there's no discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke, Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right. I have two items. Number one is we'd like to make sure that after each election within the city of Opa-locka, we as a city conduct orientation for the new commission. That includes strategic planning that will provide an accountability plan for the manager the next year. As you know, in this contract we put in there, we need to make sure we have strategic plans and visions every year. So I like to make sure that that is in alignment with the new orientation. And also in that orientation, all the departments within the city of Opa-locka present to conduct a workshop. They present about what are their goals, what are their objectives, what are challenges that they're having, detail that and make that a regular part of strategic planning for the city on an annual basis, or biannual with the actual orientation. But every November, December, or January, whenever it is that we do that strategic planning workshop orientation on the goals of the city moving forward. So that's what I would like to propose for the next commission meeting. I'll make a motion to propose that as a discussion item at the next commission meeting.
I'll second it, Mr. Mayor.
All right, second by Vice Mayor Davis. Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Kelly,
Yes.
Commissioner Bass,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke, Vice Mayor Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
And my other item is very similar to Commissioner Bass. I believe that the spirit and intent of Commissioner Bass, and I don't know the details of it, is to have more accountability on certain areas of the city and certain things. But this is to ensure that we have a standard of beautification, a maintenance plan. You see the maintenance plan that Public Works put forth. I would like to put together some type of clear guidelines and standards for the beautification and enforcement of our code throughout the city of Opa-locka with accountability. I do not know what that looks like, and I hope the management can put it together, but I want to make sure that this idea of beautification is not a problem within the city of Opa-locka, like period. Like, it is just something that is taken care of throughout the city. So that's what I would like to put forth, and I want to get some type of accountability measures and standards in the city. Give me support on that.
I'll move it.
All right. All right. Second by Vice Mayor. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly.
Yes, on discussion on, well, a question really. Um, so what you're kind of looking at something that would be an automatic? Is that what you're saying? For a standard for the department, I mean, for Public Works in terms of maintaining?
Yes, yeah, and that's the thing I want us to think through. I want management to think through. Is what is that accountability? Like, we keep bringing things up that we as a commission see, the residents bring things up, but we want to make it as a standard accountability. If that means grass cut on a weekly basis, if that means they respond to commissioner concerns or citizens' concerns within a time period. That means that, yeah, all graffiti will be removed in the city by this time, or code enforcement will annually do certain sweeps of the city. Whatever that is, want to make it a law so that the beauty of this city is standard, period. So that's what I'm looking at, and I would like us to make happen.
Okay. Thank you. That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Bass?
Yes.
Commissioner Burke? Vice Mayor Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Kelly?
Yes.
Mayor Pike?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
All right. Anything else for future agenda items? All right. On to the Mayor Commissioner reports.
Mr. Mayor,
Madam Attorney?
I have a two shade meeting announcements I'd like to announce at the appropriate time that you deem.
Yes, after the commissioner reports, at the right before we adjourn the meeting, we will take those.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Any reports from the commission?
Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly?
Thank you. I had the virtual Meet Me Monday meeting on last week. Very good, good questions and concerns, and I submitted them to the manager. The other thing I wanted to mention to the community that may be listening is drive-through book bag giveaway. We've been working on it, but after school had started virtually, we postponed it, but now it looks like school is going to be going back in some form. So we're hosting a drive-through book bag giveaway on this Saturday from 10 to 12, sponsored by Pro Cuts and Carolina Housing in conjunction with Parks and Recreation. So encouraging all of our residents, for residents only, to come by, bring the kids, it's drive-through, and pick up book bags with some supplies in them on this Saturday, 10 to 12. It's in the same location that we do the food distribution. The same concept. I want to thank the manager and his office and Parks and Recreation and the police department, working on it for a couple of weeks now. And of course, the clerk's office as well. So we invite everyone to come through and get a book bag. We're going to give them out until they run out. We'll be there from 10 to 12. Hopefully the weather won't be too bad, but that is on this Saturday from 10 to 12 noon. I also, as part of my report, want to commend Parks and Recreation. They had their drive-through trophy presentation. Of course, normally they would have a banquet, but they couldn't because of the pandemic. But I did go through on Saturday. They gave out trophies to the pounds as they were coming through at various times. So I commend them for that as well. And I also want to commend the staff and the police, parks, volunteers, public works, everyone that is always involved in the food distribution that takes place every Tuesday. Rain or shine here in the city of Opa-locka, we continue to feed the community. I am looking forward to getting the report from the manager on the beautification initiative as well, because there's some things I'd like to look at as a part of that before my tenure runs out. I think that is about it, Mr. Mayor, under my report. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? All right. With that, I think a lot of the discussion points that we wanted to discuss were brought up by the manager in terms of our 4 major challenges as a city. Look forward to seeing this progress continue to happen within the city of Opa-locka. I'm excited about moving this city forward. I just want to thank everyone for the work they've been putting in all throughout our departments, our staff, and the people that have been stepping up to ensure that this city continues to move forward and be great. So thank you very much. With that, I have no further reports. Madam Clerk, do we have an official board report? Board appointments, any appointments? Application?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. I wanted the public to please note that there are appointments available on our boards. We need you to apply so that we can make an motion to appoint people to the boards. There's a few boards that need people at large, individual appointments. Please go online and apply. Madam Clerk, is there a link on our website to apply? And if so, where is that located?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So under the City of Opa-locka website, the clerk's page, there is a section there for board and committee appointments, and there is a link to the board application. And it also has information on all the boards.
All right, please take advantage of that on our website so that people, so you can get your voice heard and you can step up to leadership within your community. Thank you very much. And Madam Attorney, you have an announcement to make?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I first want to, before I make the announcements, just check to see whether a majority of you are available on the next commission meeting date of October the 13th. I did check with the clerk, and this will be before the meeting and as early as 5:30, because there are 2 different shade sessions that will require some time. And I want to, for you all not to be rushed as you look for it. One of them is one of a League of Cities case, and then the other one is one dealing with the water utility case. And so they will require, some adequate time. So if anybody has an objection to 5:30 and it's more than 3 of you, then we need to look at some other time. But hearing none, I'll go ahead and make the announcement that notice is given of a closed door session, and that I wish to meet with you all in private, given the private closed door attorney-client session pursuant to section 286.011 Florida statutes. It will be held virtually on October the 13th at 5:30 p.m. pursuant to Executive Order number 20-69 issued by the Office of the Governor on March the 20th, 2020, allowing municipalities to conduct meetings of the governing boards without having a quorum of its members physically present or at any specific location, and utilizing communications media technologies such as telephonic or video conferencing. If this order is no longer in place, I will seek prior to that time to issue other orders that may be appropriate that will allow you to conduct this meeting virtually at that time following this, for this pending litigation matter, which is entitled George Suarez versus City of Opa-locka. And the case number is 2017-008-285-CA-01. The following individuals will attend the meeting: Mayor Pygott, Vice Mayor Davis, Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Bass, Commissioner Burke, City Manager John Pate, City Attorney Bernadette Norris Weeks, Assistant City Attorney Michelle Austin Pammies, and Assistant City Attorney Candace Cobb, and also Deidre Shaw Wilder, and on the record court reporting. The estimated length of this session will be 30 minutes until 6 o'clock. And I wish to make a second notice of an announcement of a closed door session. That notice is hereby given that a private closed door attorney-client session pursuant to section 286.011 Florida statutes will be held virtually on October the 13th at 6:00 p.m. pursuant to Executive Order 20-69 issued by the Office of the Governor Ron DeSantis on March the 20th, 2020, and as amended, allowing municipalities to conduct meetings of their governing boards without having a quorum of its members physically present or at any specific location, and utilizing communications media technologies such as telephonic or video conferencing. If this order is no longer in place, I will seek to have this commission pass other orders that may be appropriate to allow you to meet in a closed door session in this manner regarding case B&G Opa Holdings, Inc. et al. Versus City of Opa-locka, case number 18-23269 CIV. The following individuals will be in attendance at that meeting. That's Mayor Pygott, Vice Mayor Davis, Commissioner Kelly, Commissioner Bass, Commissioner Burke, City Manager John Pate, Bernadette Norris Weeks, City Attorney, Assistant City Attorneys Michelle Austin Pammies and Candace Cobb. And on the record, court reporting along with Chris Stearns and attorney and outside counsel Chris Stearns and outside counsel Damian Alpert. The estimated length of this attorney-client session will be 1 hour, and that will begin again at 6:00 p.m. or shortly thereafter. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Commissioners, for your time and attention to these issues.
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Kelly.
The attorney mentioned the 13th. We're not meeting the 13th of Tuesday?
Yes.
So we're meeting on Tuesday?
I believe that's the date that the clerk gave me no ma'am, was that do I have it? When we spoke earlier, I thought you told me the 13th. If that's not the date, then it will be the 14th, and I will do a short amendment to that announcement. Is it the 14th, Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor?
Madam Clerk.
Yes, the next city commission meeting is on the 14th, and I think your intent is to do it right before the commission meeting?
Yes, yes,
ma'am. 14th is the correct date.
Yes, ma'am. So let me, and I apologize, let me correct that. These attorney-client closed door sessions as announced for George Suarez versus City of, George Suarez et al. Versus City of Opa-locka, case number 2017-008-285 CA01 will take place at 5:30 on October the 14th, which is a Wednesday, immediately, well, just prior to the commission meeting. And the second closed door session, which is B&G Opa Holdings, Inc. et al. Versus City of Opa-locka, case number 18-23269 CIV, will take place at 6:00 p.m. on October the 14th, immediately prior to the city commission meeting. Thank you for pointing that out, Commissioner Kelly. And that concludes my announcement.
All right, any comments? Madam Attorney, I want to request to have a meeting to review those before the executive session. So I'll look forward to having that meeting. We can discuss tomorrow when we can set that time for that. With that, anyone else? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Kelly.
Second.
Second by Vice Mayor Davis. Everyone have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you.